All right, welcome back, everybody. Windy City Thetan Watch. It is Thursday. Um, I want to let everybody know, hey, I'm a never in. I don't want to pretend that I am. I'm somebody who is curious and furious about the Church of Scientology and its practices. We're here in the Printers Row of Chicago, outside of the Scientology's Ideal Org. I had to scramble a little bit here. When I got off the train, there was a Scientologist on the platform handing out flyers. So I had to very quickly get my phone up and everything. So the chat that was scheduled for 5 o'clock, I just cut that short. I left a post there. Hopefully, if people go in there, they'll see that I've got a new chat going. If anybody can give me a comment on whether or not I've got good sound and good visual, that'd be great. If you're in the live,
I'm letting you guys know I'm going to go on to his live stream in a second to make sure everything's looking good too.
Excellent, thank you. Hi, girl. And Ysireol's out here. I see Shannon down the street, and I'm told that we've got a new
Clearing Clearwater. And if anybody wants to sub, it's at. You have to put the at symbol, or else all this other stuff will come up. It's at Clearing Clearwater. At Clearing Clearwater.
Excellent. So at Clearing Clearwater.
And she is actually from Clearwater. You can tell your chat. She's
nice, and she is a Clearwater native. Thanks, girl. Yeah, I love that. And I'm going to tell you, I was very startled when he saw me, and he was very startled when I saw him. It is, Carol. We've got a nice warm day. It started out, it was 32 when I woke up this morning. It's now probably high 40s, maybe 50 degrees. We've got they've been playing music in the foyer. We've got a Scientologist here, kind of coming in, kind of staying out. Hi. Oh, door tech.
Oh, there we go.
Wait. I like your door tech. Morning, Shannon. Hi, Windy City. How are you?
Hi, I'm Jax, Clearing Clearwater.
Nice.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm getting ready to go. I don't have to stay when there are so many people. It's wonderful.
I will say that when the other night we had the 4 people out, right, Scientology,
It was really nice.
that we can cover both doors.
Yeah.
It's so much nicer that, and I'm going to say that the guy is probably trying to sneak out the back now. I don't know if you've heard this, but so I caught him when I got off the train. He was in the train handing out flyers.
Which line?
The blue line. So he's in the subway. So, all right. You guys got out front for now.
Yeah.
You said you're going to take off pretty soon. All right.
While, yeah.
No problem. I'm going to go see if they're trying to get out the back to go out there.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, it is opening day, and I'm sure the Cubs are coming soon. I'm going to say, as a proud American, maybe too proud of an American, I don't like being called a redcoat. They were the bad guys. Hiya, Bridge. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to go around back because my guess is that, if you didn't catch me at the top of the stream, I caught one of the Scientologists he hustled back to the org. I followed him back. I'm never ready on the train. I usually wait until I get to the train station to set everything up. So I very quickly, set the phone up and started recording him. And yes, go Cubs. And started recording him as we walked back. And then I just killed that stream and then reset this up because I had to get my phone set up and the mics and all that fun stuff. Now, I will say that I am more of a Cubbies fan these days. When I was a kid, I was definitely a Sox fan. I grew up on the South Side. The Sox were the South Side team. And then somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s, the Sox started wearing shorts as their uniform. And I just couldn't root for a team that wore shorts. Thank you so much. I've been trying to be, I don't know if it's cutesy or cinematic. I've been trying to create some videos. Was it yesterday? I think I created the one that was Scientology has the truth about Scientology written by L. Ron Hubbard. And that video has been on their channel forever. I think it's like 14 years old, something of that nature. And it's very funny because if you listen to it, I was able to basically refute with just recent evidence how wrong they are about everything that they say in that story. I do love, they really rely on the term agents of chaos. And everybody in the world is an agent of chaos. And that the police are bad and the press is bad. And then when you look at it, it's like, well, you're the one putting in bad press reports. You're the one lying on your press releases. You're the one corrupting and co-opting the police. So it was very interesting. Oh, sorry. We just walked by the Scientology door, and I forget that when I turn my head sideways, that doesn't mean you guys can see sideways. So nothing going on back here, right? The cart that's been down there for quite some time is still down there. Excuse me. There's a car kind of parked diagonally in this garage down here, and I kind of want to just see if there's a person sitting in there. That would kind of be an indicator of some form of PI or investigator that could get out of here quickly. But no, it's just an illegally parked car. We've got our Chicago hotel for pets. Yeah, I love that. So I just saw, Jessica Pomadessa put up a short. I'm going to say she put it up today. I saw it today. It might have been put up a couple days ago. But that one of the Scientologists, and they know, maybe it's Angel, he called in to the LA Council and said, hey, why do you think it's Scientology that swatted you? And the response from the room was, because it is. So I did like that. I still have 2 pending FOIA requests. And you know what? I did not check on those today, but I definitely didn't see any email. I didn't go to the website and check on them. But I've got the FOIA request. I want to know how many times the police have been called out here since the 4th and what the reason for the call was. And I also asked for the reason of the call when I saw the safe pointing the other day with Kweli Kwaza. Kweli Kwaza was here on their opening. He was one of the stage speakers. He runs kind of a neighborhood organization called Block 21? Club 21. It's a Block 21 or Club 21. And he's got a claim that, hey, we're fixing the city, and he loves Scientology because Scientology does so much for the community. Most of the article that showed that Scientology was doing anything for the community was back in 2017. Sorry, I just realized, I think I'm talking very fast. My heart's a little bit elevated. So, that he came out of the door, and I was fortunate to have been here. It was, 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And one of the white shirt officers from the Chicago Police Department. So that's a supervisory role. You could be a white shirt as a lieutenant on up to commander and superintendent as well. I don't think that the superintendent of Chicago drives himself. And the person just didn't look, the superintendent has a slightly different face structure than the person we saw. Yeah, I really want to write the story to say, hey, we've got a tax exempt org that is squandering tax resources. Are you okay with this? This is your new neighbor in Chicago South Loop. We just had somebody leave the south door. So I'm walking south, just in case people are trying to figure out the orientation of the organization here. So when we look at the building, the north entrance is the one that's often unlocked and sometimes open when I get here. They did close it very quickly. The shades were already down, and then the south entrance is most of the time locked. So we don't see that very often. Just had another gentleman in a suit come out. Let me check and see if this guy's picking up an order, grabbing some food, or passing through to go to the back. Yeah, so he went straight to the pickup counter. The pickup counter here, hey Nance, the pickup counter here is pretty far back. You see the "We Deliver" sign back there. So he may have had an order or just doing a pickup there. I'm gonna walk back up to the top of the street. I think that Shannon's got this covered very well.
It's your new one for $175. Bring your kids a new wallet.
What I really want to do right now, because I feel like we've got Ysireol clearing Clearwater. I think that she said her name was Jack or Jax. And Shannon of Chicago Scientology Audit down by the front door. So I want to see if I can pick off another person handing out the flyers. Hello, Mexican. I'm sorry, MLH. Still feel really bad as a old white guy saying hello, Mexican in today's day and age. I saw you out there today. It looks like you're recovering fairly well. Doesn't sound like you're going to run a marathon anytime soon, but if you got your chair and your camera, you can keep tabs on Denver. Love it. For those of you just tuning in, this evening when I got off the train, I caught our favorite guy who passes out flyers. He was down on the platform with his handful of free personality tests. He looked at me, immediately turned heels, and headed back to the org. And I was not ready for him, so I just had a handheld phone, no mic, no gimbal. I had to then restart the live stream. He was in the Blue Lines. So the Blue Line is a subway in Chicago, and most of the other ones, the blue and the red are subways. Most of the other ones are above ground or elevated, hence the L. Want to see if I can just find anybody else out here handing out flyers. it still, it boggles my mind how strict they are, and their ability not to talk, right? So the bull baiting up here seems to have worked. Their bull baiting classes up here seem to have worked pretty well. They're not going to engage us. I did like the video that I had the other day when we saw the safe pointing. I think it was 8 different sets, and 2 of those sets had 3 or 4 people in them, of people walking by who were fully unable to say anything positive about the church. Now, not a single one of them uttered a word. The old white-haired fella just wanted to contently finish smoking his cigarette, not engage at all. So I've come to the next intersection. I'm just kind of giving a good long glance all directions to see if we can find anybody in dark blue suits passing out the flyers. 100% true. Love it. I really love the community, right? And yeah, we've got a couple of drama issues going on right now, but I think that we're still collected and unified with a singular stance to disrupt the abilities of Scientology. Some of those are taking the form of let's get their tax status taken away. Some of them are trying to pull members out of the org, and others are trying to prevent people from joining the org. Want to let some of these people get past real quick. Yeah, I'm going to head over to State Street. I didn't see anybody. So that was Dearborn. Didn't see anybody on Dearborn. I'm going to keep heading over to State Street. Pretty day here in Chicago. It's, like I said, 45, maybe 50. Sun will be going down fairly soon. It's chilly, but not cold by any means. And this is, I apologize. I keep on turning my head side to side, and you all can't see that. So this is Plymouth Court going both ways. Nothing here. Heading over to State Street. Just a reminder, right, that building there, the gold or yellow brick masonry building with a lot of glass, is a Roosevelt College dorm or residence. On my left is a high school, college prep, so Jones College Prep. Yeah, I'm very jealous of Jay in Denver. The streaming tool he has lets him put multiple cameras out when he's mobile. Boy, I can't remember. It starts with an S on there, but so he can show his face as well as what the back of the camera is looking at. So I think that's very cool. Here we got a unicycle or a motorized unicycle coming down the road. Yep. And I don't think I've got any mods in. If I do, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to, but definitely run over to Mexican Longhair and give them some love with liking as many videos as you can and subbing. Really love what DOA is doing out in California. Now, most of the California folks typically promote California folks. Makes pretty good sense. So I use StreamYard. He uses a different one. StreamYard doesn't let you put 2 cameras mobile at once. In my studio, I can do 2 at once. Sorry. And by the way, it kind of makes sense a little bit that regionally the people are up at different times, and also they're some of their channel members are much more have a greater affinity towards California than they do against about the Midwest. So understandable, but I love that he interviews some of these newer channels, and similar to yeah, I think that does make sense. And unfortunately, I just did an annual subscription to StreamYard, so I don't know if I want to dump another chunk down there, but we'll see. Some of the things that I'm very grateful for is the generosity of the Natalies, the Aarons. Before the Chicago org opened, he had Shannon on, he had Trashy on. I was already out of town in Tokyo, but they're helping us to get that initial platform so that we can just broaden the awareness of what's going on in these non-LA, non-Clearwater spaces. Right? And if you ever listen to Aaron, he would kind of tell you that Chicago was kind of a backwater for Scientology for the longest time. I will tell you that they're coming full press right now in Chicago. The number of people in this org is astounding compared to what used to be at the Lakeview org. So now who knows if those people are going to be permanent members, if they're just here until they can staff up with local fresh meat or not, but there definitely is an awful lot of there's a lot of people in that org, and the amount of effort that when you're setting meetings for the white shirts of the CPD to come in, like that wasn't a call. The person was on duty. He was in an official vehicle in official attire, so it should be part of the public record, but that was a meeting, not a call out for service. I think I heard that. So now I'm going to have to go jump in his face and say, hey, come and chat with us. And I think Danny might be back here right now. I know he had to be back here soon. Yeah, the person that I was interviewing the other night who was mentioning the number of people that are in birthing at the Imprint apartments. And again, I'm going to have to put that on a page or something, but Graystar, I think it's Graystar Realty, is the parent company of Imprint Apartments. And I have a couple of complaints into them expressing my concern that they're supporting Scientology, and that I wanted to make sure that they're aware of the fact that their building management is allowing people to put 6 to 9 people in a studio apartment. Now, if I was a tenant in that apartment, I'd be pretty pissed because they're consuming services just like Scientology. They're not paying for these services. They're paying for one person's worth of services, whether it's a health club, a pool, whatever the case may be. They pay for one person, but they're able to consume 9 persons worth of that. That's close to Chicago. I'll give them that. Thank you, Just Me. Good info. I don't think I've heard an update on he had to come back to do an interview, which I think was absolute BS. It was just another one of those, not necessarily a scare tactic, but a barrier to put in front of the people so that they won't make the claim. So. Yeah, so I've always been within 30 miles of here, but when if you're in Illinois, you say the suburb that you're in. If you're anywhere else in the nation or in the world, you just say Chicago. Yep, absolutely. Go Steelers. I was a huge fan in the mid '70s when they were just a powerhouse. It was not hard to be able to root for the 4-time Super Bowl champions. And Des Plaines is just outside the city, so it's almost a boundary of Chicago. Like the Des Plaines River is kind of the western boundary of Chicago. Depending on how far north or south you are, you'll be just inside of the city or just outside of the city in Des Plaines, on the Des Plaines River. Oops. That's another one, Jen, that Boston was one that, as a Chicagoan, I spent 1 year there. I had my girlfriend was going to college there. And at night, I would deliver pizzas or deliver food at night. And I would just listen to the radio. And the Bulls were amazing at that point in time. So it was great. I just got to listen to the Bulls beat the snot out of the Celtics. And I used to love, everybody in Boston says, I'm going to go into the big city. And they claim Boston is a big city. Boston's like 800,000 people. Now, Boston area is a lot of people, nowhere near Chicago, but Boston is a really, really kind of small town. And I don't know, show of hands, anybody who never got lost in Boston. And if you've been able to navigate Boston, congratulations. Walking past the reception of Imprint, right? So here's where the Sea Org members go in after their shift. And again, I'm going to say staff members because I don't know if they're Sea Org or if they're just paid staff. So one thing that I noticed when I was in Boston was that a lot of wealthy foreigners sent their kids to Boston. Has a college on every street, and a lot of wealthy foreigners would send their kids here, and the kids just had money growing out of every orifice available, and it was just amazing to see how they would spend versus what you had to spend. Right, you would scrimp and save, and you were eating ramen. And they're getting Dom Perignon and having after parties. I used to do valet at night as well. And our valet company, they would charge their party goers $20 a head, and there'd be 200-300 people there. They'd rent out a factory, do the the whole DJ thing. It was cool stuff, but definitely a world that I wasn't a part of. I do think I'm here Saturday. It'll be excellent to see you. I will say I did as well, and I thought I was better at it, and I thought the people that that I was finding were better at it at that age. You know a little bit more about what your expectations in life are by that point in life. Oh, you know what? While I'm up here, I'm gonna go check the alley out real quick. Usually when I'm on the sidewalks and the sidewalks are going to get busier, I try to tilt the camera a little bit away from just people in public. I have no obligation to, but I just out of kindness, I guess. Yeah, that's bizarre stuff in Boston. So if I recall, the Washington Street, the city planners decided they were going to create a Washington Street, but they knew that every city was going to create a Washington Street. So the way they made theirs different was every street that intersects Washington, it changes its name as it crosses Washington, just to make things easier for everybody. The other one is Chicago's a grid city, but if there's an east-west street that's one way, the next east-west street will be one way the opposite direction. In Boston, especially near the airport, you can see 7 one-ways in a row. Like, you're committed to the tunnel to the airport about a mile away from the tunnel. There's just no escaping that. All right, I'll head over there. See if Jack or Clearwater is on the same schedule. Usually Ysireol hangs out a little bit more. And I didn't see a trashy scheduled one today. But last night they did a live on, hey, what are some questions that we could be asking the Scientologists? They were also, so Trashy works on small engines as well. And I think he does things like makes DIY skateboards, like motorized skateboards, that kind of thing. With he puts those little engines inside of things to convey. No, you're just big bone fingered. Have they invited you in yet?
Somebody
His
just
friend
went
just
in.
went
His
in
friend
there.
just went
Nice.
in there. How do you know he's my
So it
friend?
really is not. It's just
How do you know he's my friend?
You
I know we're friends.
You came back together. Came by together. So I assumed you
Ah, what happened when you assumed?
were Mexican.
I do? No.
And
I didn't know he was a friend.
I don't.
And I can tell you what, you need this really bad. When you figure it out, right? What do you want?
This has something to do with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know Diana. Yeah. I know how to love him. He is a God. He is a God.
that's great news. So I heard you just got 50 subs.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I need 50. I'm 28. I don't use the
All right.
guy.
Is it still Ysireol?
Yes, Yisroel.
One more second. Go ahead while I've got the mic here.
Okay. YISROELBROWNSTEIN and 7700.
Excellent. Thanks. And Jen put that in there, and she says she sees that you got 28 as well. Are you going to kind of base up here, base back in Florida?
I'm going to be between here in Clearwater most of the time. I'm also taking a trip to Vegas.
Nice.
So just here, there, and everywhere.
Nice. Love it. Now, the one thing that is interesting, you'll be able to go live at home right away at 50, but mobile, it'll take about a week to do that. It's frustrating, and I don't know what there's no information on why that is, but it just so happens that that's what it takes.
Yeah, I won't be home for like 3 more weeks.
Gotcha.
He's been in there like 4 minutes.
Oh, maybe the videotape is running slow.
You're more my friend than
Okay. I can't wait till that guy that you were with comes out.
are we together? You're not my friend?
Are you guys breaking up? Are you guys breaking up?
That's what happened to me. So I'm gonna introduce you to something called love.
Just out of curiosity, what got you interested in
Love.
the movement?
Living in Clearwater.
Okay. Yeah, the blightedness of.
I've got so much video of everything that Scientology owns is just empty and shuttered, and then the few little buildings downtown that aren't Scientology related are sometimes hopping, but it's few and far between, and it's sad that we don't have a downtown.
That really is a shame and a disgrace. The idea that it's killed a town. I mean, it's
But think about what it's also done to our taxes.
Yeah.
Because
you
there
have no
are
businesses generating revenue,
right. So
and they don't pay. None of your building owners like to pay taxes. So
everything gets lumped onto us.
Another person that I talked to, and I thought you two were together. We are. That's good. We are.
Hello,
I
J-Bat.
hope you're having children and everything's great. No,
The poor guy has been in there for about 5 minutes. I think he's going to come out with a button down and slacks and a member of the tour.
It doesn't work. I'm telling you.
Let me see if we can see through. Depending on what time of day it is, you can see through the blinds pretty well. I'm going to take this off. No, it's not dark enough. So we've got too much light outside that you're just going to see reflection. So sadly, you just have to see the bald guy.
Hey, buddy, you okay in there?
Were the blinds down when you first got here?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there's just a big corridor down the one side and then the corridor down the other side. And as Clear and Clear said, right, the blinds were up when they got here, but as soon as we get here, we have to hide the church. You know, this awesome thing that's good for everybody. We have to hide it, so it only works in the shadows. I just think it's the funnest game in the world to me that I come over here and they seldom go more than a minute, and they'll bring 2 people forward to pull the blinds down. It's like this violates every principle of retail, right?
It's because it's front.
Yep.
And they don't really know about what happens.
Thanks, Fluffer.
As long as those 6-figure people are still members and
Yep. Take a trip up to the.
Yes, he's got 35.
See if we can see the alley again. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I have been trying to do speed plays. I've been trying to mark the chapters. I did a short yesterday, and the short was, 8 or 9 staff members unable to articulate anything positive about the church. Excuse me, sorry about that. And I did another, maybe a 5-minute video on, there's an old documentary that's on the Scientology site, and it's The True Story of Scientology, written by L. Ron Hubbard. So he doesn't narrate it. He is apparently he wrote it. And he's got these 5 points on there that, well, the first 3 points, it's simple and it's concise and it's a story quickly told. And what I find amazing is that nobody can quickly tell that story. Nobody's allowed to quickly tell the story that is simple and concise. The other thing that I find interesting about that particular video, and I don't know when he wrote this, at that point he said, when a philosopher comes along and writes a new philosophy and everybody rants against him, and it's like, is this a philosophy or is it a religion? Because I want to know if I'm ranting against a jackpot religion or a jackpot or a crackpot religion or a crackpot philosophy. And by the way, philosophies aren't tax exempt. So yeah, nothing really going on in the alley right now. And I think I got a couple of responses from people that remembered the 1960s show The Prisoner with Patrick McGowan. And I did a video on that maybe Monday or Tuesday. And what was interesting about that, the reason I did that one is, I think last week PTS for Life talked about one of the tactics of the church is to make you feel like you're assimilated into the group. They remove your individuality, they strip your identity. And the movie The Prisoner is 100% that. It is just consistently classifying this person as consistently classifying him as number 6. So he's number 6. And when he first gets there, they tell him, you guys taking off?
You could,
All right.
there's no reason that they
Take
won't
care.
let you.
That they talk to him and they say, hey, if you play nicely, their friend finally went in. If you play nicely, then we'll even give you positions of authority. And that always feels like when I think about the way that Scientology breaks you down mentally with both the auditing and the sec checks, when they sniff out anything irregular in the auditing process, all they're really doing is to get you on board. And by the way, when you're on board, then you get to start moving up through the ranks in the organizations, which is different than I would say moving up through the bridge, right? So you've got the bridge to total freedom, but there's also the idea that you have ranks in the org. You know, they have people who are custodians, and they have people who are executives and directors of these organizations. So how do you get into those positions? Yeah, I would say that is kind of fortunate, but it still is the idea that if those places were filled, what is that? Another $100,000 a week in revenue, and that seems like a really, really conservative number. But you know, when you talk about 6 or 8 square blocks of a city where there's no retail, yeah, you don't have you're crushing your tax base. And I agree that they do have other places that can happen. We have a village here, Schaumburg, which has Woodfield Mall, and I don't think it's any longer that way, but it used to be the most visited attraction in Illinois. And Woodfield Mall is in Schaumburg, and the people of Schaumburg pay no property taxes because the mall has that much revenue. So that is one of the reasons why it's important to have. Thank you, Jewel. That is one of the reasons why it's so important to have a good retail or commercial business in your town, is that you can now. Welcome in, Amy. Are you coming with Jules? So Yeah, and the tourism is another one. Welcome to the cult. Yeah, this one, I wonder, is it just the idea that once we went through COVID, realized we could do everything remotely? It's still saying online. I'm one of those that I've never ordered clothes online, and the reason I've ordered clothes online is because I need to try things on beforehand. Care to tell me anything positive about the church? Nothing positive about the church? Or you're not allowed to talk? All right, the streak remains. There are no positive elements of this church. Nobody is willing to talk about the church. And so we're now after business. And no kidding.
Not for me. Not for me. You don't care. Lion L. Hubbard said, you do care. You do care about everybody. You do care about everybody. You do care about everybody. What is he doing?
Chicago's finest.
What are you filming me for? What is he doing? What is it?
Chicago's finest. Here supporting the Church of Scientology. Here's the cult.
He didn't like that.
No, he didn't.
Nope.
So one
He's
of the
not
things,
a Negro.
one of the things
He's an
that L. Ron Hubbard,
African-American.
right? L. Ron
Now,
Hubbard.
if he went to Africa, and he just,
Yep.
boop, they're like, what the hell is this guy doing here? He says, I'm African American.
Yeah.
No, you're either African or you're an American. I'm not a German American. I'm not an Irish American. So what did they say? Well, like you said, which I want my buddy to. He's not my buddy per se, but they said my buddy went.
I know. He's an individual who lives on the same planet as you, and he was occupying similar space. Yeah.
Boop, put that real plant in there.
Right. That's.
And how many votes that?
I'm always amazed by the fact that people of color are in here, and early L. Ron Hubbard. They've wiped the record now, but his first statements were people of color are degraded humans.
Yes. Yes.
So, why are you supporting this church?
Yes.
So.
Sir, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the Democrats been doing it for years and years. And I'm a racist. You're a racist. I don't know you from Adam, but we're both racist. But I need your vote. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you don't vote for me, you are not black.
Yep. I do think that is a message that is portrayed. Correct.
He did say that.
Now, and
Biden did say that.
Agreed. Now,
And they believed it. And they voted for him.
all right.
And then they found out,
Yep. Yep.
like every other Democrat, care less about the black community whatsoever.
I'll just say
Am
that
I right or wrong?
I will say I'm less interested in politics, and I'm more interested in.
But this
this.
is politics.
It's not politics.
Yes, it is.
Okay, what are their politics?
Their politics is taking you away from the system.
What is that politic?
Taking you away from the system.
Okay,
I just had oral system.
I'd say that's a policy. Yeah.
I just had oral surgery, so I apologize if I.
No problem.
I shouldn't even be smoking or anything. But with that said, what did they do? They took you out of the politics. Because I don't think the way that you think anymore.
Right.
You know how I think? I think like Ron L. Hubbard.
Yes. L. Ron Howard. L. Ron Hubbard. Hubbard. It is Hubbard.
Hubbard, whatever. I could give a rant for two because I'm going to tell you straight up. That's what they do. They take you out of the system
100% Bridge.
and say, hey, you could do it on your own.
They do.
You
Now,
are the higher power.
They think that we're all gods, and all we have to do is unlock that power.
You know why that feels so good? You know why that feels so good? Because I already knew I'm a god.
That's excellent.
No, I know I'm a god.
Good. That is good.
Right?
Yep.
But nothing's working. Nothing's working for me. I go up and I go back down. I go up, I go back down. This guy's got the answer.
Yep.
He is a god.
and he told you he's a god. Basically,
He's as
In
much a
so
god
many words-
as
so many
Jim.
words or less he said that.
Is
right?
as much a god as David Koresh and Jim Jones and the Moonies and Bhagwan Rajneesh. You know?
I gotta go down.
Have a good day. Did you learn anything valuable?
Huh?
What'd you learn?
I learned the most basic thing I learned about, what was I think his name was Ron L. Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard, yep.
I was actually intrigued how he was speaking about psychology and how he knew Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
And actually, I learned that this is not necessarily psychological, but it's more in relationship to the mind and understanding. And I actually find it very intriguing. And I find his life story intriguing. And I find it very, actually, in a very awkward way, similar to mine.
No, and I would say that it's at this
human
level,
potential,
right?
And the mind. Don't we speak about that often?
I had you read a little booklet.
Yeah,
And
and
you can't
it
do
starts
that.
with a booklet. It starts with, like,
No,
inner
you still haven't
understanding.
read the booklet.
Hold on, I'll answer the question. And I did learn a lot, and I'm more actually
How did
intrigued.
you
to
learn a lot?
Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you that if you do any research on the internet, you're going to find out that he was kicked out of the military. He was a terrible leader in that. He tried to promote his mental health programs to the established psychiatrists and psychiatrists. Right. They all thought he was a crackpot, and once they kind of denied him entry, that's when he's decided
to initiate his own.
Yep.
Absolutely. That's what any great mind would do, wouldn't it?
Yeah. If you believe that's a great mind,
their perception wasn't large enough or wise enough to understand what he was trying to profess. They want a lot of times they want physical, scientific proof and evidence that 3 times it's always going to be perfect. But we all know that nothing is perfect, right?
Correct. I would agree with that.
So also.
So is you're thinking that he's right and the entire rest of the universe is wrong? L. Ron Hubbard's right and the rest of the world's wrong?
No. I just think that he was perhaps ahead of his time, and the way maybe he illustrated and the accepted those things at that time was not developed. Kind of like even the great Carl Jung, like they spoke Sigmund Freud, their concepts at one point was not accepted, wasn't it?
100% true.
And then now they're like the fathers of psychology.
Correct.
So it's they're, like I said, their failure of perception of what his ability was.
That is a possibility.
Yeah,
now,
a great one.
Yes, it is. Now, I will say this. You better have a good wallet because things are going to start costing you a little bit more now.
Well, that's...
so today was free.
Okay, that's fine.
You just met your Coke dealer, and your Coke dealer gave you your first hit, and now the rest of the time, you're paying full for retail.
Well, that's fine. I have something within myself, which is right here and right here, which is free. That will never cost me anything, and I'll share it for free. Nice.
I appreciate that.
Come on.
You have a good day.
You want to listen to my interview?
Nice. Yeah, go ahead.
You want to listen to my interview?
Yeah. What do you got?
I don't know. What you tell me?
What did you listen to? What did you find out in there? That you're not welcome,
I
right?
know about Ron L. Hubbard.
Yep.
And I know that there's one guy.
We call him Larry, right?
We can call him Larry.
Okay.
Actually,
I heard his name was Howard. Howard be thy name.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Hello.
Hello. Bill, Jose, can you see?
But he's living. It's not a higher power. It's not a Big Bang theory. It's not any of that. But it is a Big Bang theory happening, and we all evolved.
The word was omnipotency.
Hey, what did you say about me? I can't touch you. You're not supposed to touch
All right,
me,
I
right?
apologize.
No touching. No fighting, no touching. What's that sign say? No bare feet.
Teeth. Look at that.
That's
You
okay.
like that? He puts it out here one at a time.
He looked like a baby again. Like a newborn baby.
But that's the truth. I mean, we're going. If you believe in Christianity, not religion, and anything, you believe that God died for us, and He was a Jew, and
Well, even Jesus, he was his theories were unaccepted at that time. He was also a mind person of abstract, where he spoke in parables, and it takes human understanding, knowledge, and concepts. So it's very similar, but maybe just on a different degree.
So, Jules, you're
And
Southern, aren't you?
maybe, hold on now. See,
Come on.
and
I'm in a hurry. Remember, I told you I have to go see my girl.
You're in a hurry and you stopped in there?
Yeah.
All
My
right.
phone called me.
Excellent.
I don't fail to listen.
ask him why he's bringing into my interview. I asked him for one thing.
Yep,
Well, if I can say one thing,
you can.
Listen to your heart.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Use your mind. Use your mind. Yes. He did, and I would say that I don't believe that God was Jewish. At least that book doesn't say God was Jewish. Now, Jesus very likely was Jewish. It was interesting. I thought I always liked, and it was earlier somebody had said that it's a typical bar conversation, and I really love those. This would be something where Selfless Self would have eaten that up. And I love Selfless Self has such a good understanding of philosophies and religions that he can refute that very, very well. Thank you so much, Jules. And yeah, I am trying to get monetized, but it's really the idea that I want to create more signs, and I want to have business cards and QR codes that kind of push people to the information that we've got going here. I'm not looking to make money on here, but I just want to reinvest everything that I can in this regard, whether it's camera equipment, mic equipment, everything of that nature. So I appreciate that. I 100% do, and if you can send people in here and run it in the background, I think I'm at like maybe 600 right now. And what do we need? 3,000. I know that I'll get there. It's just when will I get there? Corn's a riot and a hoot to have out here, and I like that. It's similar to when Ysireol's out here right now. It's great that we've got somebody who's not with their face in a camera. And if your face isn't in the camera, you can pay a little bit more attention to what's going on as people come up and down the street. So while we were doing I don't know if we're going to call it an interview or not. One of the Scientologists did sneak out. He's going down to pay a parking meter down there. You can see maybe you can see his white shirt at the parking meter. Now I'm going to say. I feel like these people really are challenged by parking meter technology. So much appreciated. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you, Jules. That I feel like they're trying to get a mortgage out of these machines sometimes. Now my guess is he's gonna walk down to the bottom of the street. He'll cross over and then he'll. Oh nope, he's going. My guess is wrong. He went into the juice bar, and then he'll leave the juice bar, and then he'll either walk around the back to go in, or he'll have to walk past me to go in again. They do have, I'm not positive how sophisticated of a smartphone a Scientologist is supposed to have. But yeah, there are apps. You know, any of these apps have the, hey, download this, and it's much easier to do, to pay your parking. And with the app, one of the things I like about the app is you then put in the minimum time on the meter, but if you're going to be there later, you just keep on upping it and upping it and upping it. All right. So the person in the dark hair that just walked out, she's also staff. How you doing? She is one of the people that was a college recruiter, and she was called full HCO, the night that I saw the college recruiters come in. I'm curious why we're seeing a stream of people come out and go south, unless they're going back to the birthing. Sometimes they will try to lure me away from the door here. I love it on days when, like earlier, when Shannon was here, I can be in back while she's in front, monitoring that door. The way that I really want to try to be effective in this movement is I want to stop new people from getting in. And since I am rather mobile, I just want to follow their people that are doing the handing out of flyers. And every time they hand one out, I just tell every person they're giving it to what that is, and they drop it or give it back. I appreciate that as well, Jules. And I'm going to say that I saw a couple of messages come through that a couple other people have subbed and greatly appreciated. Have a good day at the cult. Oh, look, a St. Hill organization person. So that was, I couldn't tell if I think it's that American St. Hill organization on the back, that gray sweatshirt. So he's going to be ASHO, which is one of the L. Ron Hubbard Way buildings. Love it, Corn Freak. I have to redo my signs. My signs right now have the aftermath information on it, and while I want the I love it. All the puppies like to pee in front of the church. I don't want to denigrate Aftermath. I just can't support them any longer with the way that they're really trying to tear apart the community. The idea that if somebody doesn't protest or doesn't work against the church the way you do bothers you, I'm troubled by that. I'll say that Shannon and I have very much different styles. I think she's much more vocal and much more aggressive. And that's just, I'm not comfortable doing that. And I don't begrudge her for it. I love that we have different people doing different things. This is awesome. So everybody tries to walk by and then they take a really drastic right-hand turn. So it's like, oh, I'm not going there. Oh yeah, I am going there. Anything positive to say about the church? My audience would love to hear what you're doing so well with. So there's nothing positive about the church? I'm loving it. Sorry, as I was saying earlier, my goal is really to detract them from being able to bring new members in. I don't think that I'm going to help pull legacy members out of the organization. I want to give them every opportunity to leave, so probably half the time I've got a sign that is the need help leaving Scientology. And then other times it's on the other side of the sign, it's all the crimes of Scientology. And I did create a new QR code. I just haven't created business cards for it yet, but that'll kind of link back to my website. And on the website, thanks, Michelle, and Reese, that on the website, I will, what I want to do is I want to show the crimes and examples of the crimes. Like, it might not be enough for people to say, oh, we don't like with child trafficking. Well, let's give some examples of how they did child trafficking. Right? Let's, several of the people, several of the second gens that we know have left have very good stories, compelling stories about that. And I think that if people can see that in a short form with evidence, that it would be awesome. I'm a big pup fan. Oops. Welcome in, Pippi. If you're just joining in, when I got off the train this morning, or this afternoon before I came over here, just as I got off the train, one of the Scientologists was on the platform handing out the free personality tests. He immediately turned around and went up, and I fumbled very quickly to get my phone up and running. But it wasn't fast enough. Just like every church, it locks its members out. I know it's not a cult, but why did they lock you out? You're part of the staff. So it's good that it's not a cult and you're locked out of your own church. And they'll almost never come by here. You have to walk over to the other door most of the time. Thank you, Michelle. I will say that I love this city more than I hate this group, but I hate this group pretty much. I dislike this group very much. I want to do Dan Walks LA, except Wendy Walks Chicago. If you saw me, what was it? I think it was Tuesday afternoon. I saw two people handing out flyers, and they would try to cross the street and trip me up on the stoplights, and they just couldn't get away from me. So they eventually walked back to the org and went inside. So. Nice. And I'm guessing, because I think I posted a video today. I think you only get 3 notifications a day from any given channel. And I posted a video, and then I had the, I think I posted a video, I posted a short, and I had the false start on my first chat. So it's possible that Ellie wasn't able to see this, because she's usually in here. I know she was over on Mexican Longhair when I first was heading down here. I'm still waiting for that. We'll be here. I still love the first time that I had a police contact here. The officer came out. It was when Tony and Natalie were here, and the police officer came out and said, "Well, when are you guys gonna be done?" And my reply was, "As soon as they close." Howdy, Dave. Hopefully you've got Cynthia in check tonight. I got a voicemail back from the Greystar Realty. And so Greystar Realty is who owns Imprint. They own hundreds, if not thousands, of apartment buildings across the world. And they wanted to talk to me about what my concerns were. So that'll be interesting. Tomorrow I'll try to talk to them. I did talk to, in Chicago, they have a 311 system, which is basically a non-emergency or information line. And there are no ordinances in Chicago that disallow you from having 9 people in an apartment. But I will say that the people who own the apartment, getting ready to go to the cult, coming in your civvies, getting dressed up. There are no ordinances against that, but my hope is that no responsible landlord wants to have 9 people housed for the price of 1. It's economically unfeasible. 100%. And you know what I kind of want to do, and again, I can't grant power to anybody in this situation, but I would like smaller channels to start talking about why did you get in? What drew you to this? What do you want to accomplish out of this process? Just to let everybody say, hey, here's how I want to stand against the cult. Ah, my good friend the liar's coming down the street. Why do you support people who protect criminals? Ah, the escort. Any positive elements of the church you want to share with my audience? Is it there are no positive elements of the audience or for the church? You're going to go in and you're going to support the child rapists, the abusers of elders and children? I agree. One thing, and again, without talking about the details of, in regards to, let's say, a recent blog from new people who have high authority in certain organizations, the idea that you're going to say that this protesting, the groundswell of protesters here isn't making a difference. Hollywood is the #1 source of foot traffic for the cult of Scientology, and it's shut down, right? Can you share anything positive about the church with my audience? Is there nothing positive about the church? Watch the hard left turn. It's so cute. I love that. It's like military folks who, when you take the left-hand turn in military marching. Jules, it's less empty than you think. When they were up in Lakeview, in all of the time that Trashy or Shannon or I was there, we would say the total count that we ever found up there was maybe 12 people. I would be surprised if the number is less than 50 here. Now, I don't think that these are permanent people. I think they're people that are here helping to get the org staffed up. But there's a lot of people here in this cult. So, you big fans of the new cult? I'll say it's impressive that they're coming at it big time. So, and the church just continues to support criminals and back them up. Anything positive to say about the church, ma'am? It's hard to believe that there's nothing positive about this church. Oh, so back to the idea that, Kansas City has people protesting. Boston has people protesting. Austin has, that Pearl Snappy has Austin wrapped up almost. And, here I think that we are starting to make a difference. I loved on Monday night when we had 4 people here, and I'm sure that the Scientologists were like, oh my God, what the hell do we do with this? We thought it was just that crazy lady with the purple hair. But no, we're going to keep being here. Good day at the cult? Is it just me, or did he kind of give me a nod? There have been several minor cities in Florida that I keep hearing that there are protesters outside of now. I'm going to be at San Jose sometime soon. Here comes our friend, the letter writer. I think that this is every bit as important as, if not more so, than when Anonymous came after the church, right? They're unable to handle this. Good evening. Willing to share anything positive about the church? Can you tell us why we should go in? Yeah, I agree with that. And by the way, one of the things I want to say is that you need the Mike Renderers and the Claires who can communicate with such a well-spoken tone and factual understanding of the practices of the church. I think it's incredibly important that they're able to continue doing that. I think that they have some bad tactics in regards to thinking that their way is the only way in the movement. You know, Aaron has mostly been a desk person, right? So he's um, a talking head, and I mean that as that, you know, he's generally conveying to us news, information, that type of work. The protesters are on the ground, right? And in Mike Rinder's words, that's action, right? So to claim that they're not being active is ludicrous. 100%. Now, some of them might start that way, but I would agree with that. Can you share anything positive about the church with my audience? Are you unaware of anything positive about this church? So this cult hasn't given you anything? Are you embarrassed of it? Okay, so apparently this must be shift start time because we've got another one. Can you share with my audience anything positive about the church? Is there anything positive about the church? Has this cult taught you nothing? Are you unable to communicate? And you have nothing to say either? Can you tell me, my audience, what the good things about this church are? So the cult has your tongue too. So going back to Jules, this is not a small org. Here comes another one. She's going to try the door and the knocking process. Can you tell me something positive about the church? Is there any reason why the cult has locked you out? Isn't that a shame that you can't get into your own church? Yeah. Any of you got anything nice to say about the church? Is there anything nice about the church? You're ready to save the world, but you can't tell us how. Thank you, Dave. I 100% think that this is a true statement. I believe there's an awful lot of imported people. Here's 3 more people that aren't going to have anything nice to say about the church, even though I'm offering them. You can tell my audience any positive element about the church. All right, go in and support the criminals. Danny Masters spent 20 years without being charged for rape. I do think that they imported a lot of the talent. They're here to help get it staffed up. It's, you know, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a pretty wide variety of ages that we just saw in the last 15 minutes. So this is not all seniors. There are several college and I would say midlife working age people here. They have meat in the building. Just a reminder that right, not only can they not open up the first floor windows, they don't open up the second floor shades either. So one of the things, a couple of those people that came by, they had a very large lapel pin. And I don't know if that means something or not. So almost everybody has the small lapel pin, but that just is the cross, you know, the 8-point cross. A few of these, it was, I would say, triangular in nature, or a bar across the bottom with an arch across the top. But yeah, there was definitely people that had a very sizable lapel pin on, and I think that is denotes rank or department, division. So it almost looked like she had a fist, and I saw the back of her hand. Right? Is that what you're speaking to? It's not necessarily raw meat, but there's an awful lot of human flesh in that building. We know that all of that human flesh is contaminated with thetans, and I feel so poorly for them. Highly unlikely that many of those are OT anything. You know, typically staff members are not going up the bridge. Oh, hurry up, bring your children in, get their niacin. So these people were here on Monday. So that group was here Monday. And when we left here at 10 o'clock, that family looked like, I'm going to guess, a mother and 2 children. They were here until 10 o'clock. Yeah, agreed. Or the money, right? Now I think that they don't have to pay to go up the bridge, and they can do that self-check back and forth. So, and I guess I've been too kind to them, not noting Xenu. Can you share with my audience any of the positive experiences you've had? It appears they too have not had positive experiences. You know, we're joking about that a little bit, and I know that there's no ill will there, but that's incredibly sad that those young children are being subjected to 100 times the daily recommended dosage of niacin. We all know that every sauna has a message on it that says, hey, 10, maybe 15 minutes, that's all. It's just incredibly tragic to see that these people are accepting the theories and thoughts of this church. So one thing I want to do is I want to make sure that if there's, let's see here, I don't know enough about that, and I'm going to guess is it American Sign, or is it a different mechanism for a call for help or a call for safety? Now, the one thing I will also say, when I got close to her, and you might not have seen it on the camera, her hand shook, Parkinsonian, it's something of that nature, which maybe it's just an element of age, but I think that it was almost to warm her hand up. But Yeah, you're right. And I don't know her. I've got to figure out the names of these people. And I'm sure a person of that age is somebody who's been around the org, maybe in other orgs as well. So maybe some of the second gens and the under the radars can help me out with that as well, to see if we can find, is there family that can help? Yeah, that's a great way of thinking about it. Oops. Hey, Ashley, that seems like a new name. Thanks for coming in. And yep, you're absolutely correct. And in this situation, right, those kids are what? 6 and 9, 6 and 12, 8 and 12. Uh, Irrelevant of what any of those numbers were, I'm pretty sure I'm in the ballpark. They can't consent to what's going on. So when mom says, come and do this, they'll be obedient. And that's not a church element, right? That's just a family dynamic. The family unit is typically, I look at my parents as an authority figure, and I trust that they're taking care of me. And these people are not taking care of them. It's like when the police come, they will say, well, we don't know what goes on in there, and it's a church, and they can do what they want. So, we don't know that. And they're intentionally ignorant of doing any kind of research to understand what they're trying to support there. So, this is one of those places where I would love to see if we can figure out, hey, city council, can you make the police in District 1 attend a 1-hour seminar where a Claire Headley or a Mike Rinder can come and express what some of the crimes and practices of this organization are. I know that won't happen, but it's something I want to have happen. Cigarette man. He's doing his grunge look. I'll give you another opportunity to tell us anything positive about the church. Still nothing positive about the church? Cults are tough, I guess. Yeah, I will say that Pat Robertson, right? 700 Club guy, Jimmy Swaggart. Right? There have been plenty of church people who have committed crimes, right? We know that the Catholic Church also covered up crimes for a great deal of time, and that those have only recently started to be investigated, and the church has only recently kind of opened up the doors, but I think they're selective in what's going on there. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was Jim and Tammy Faye. And again, I think I've mentioned this before. I come up through a mostly Christian upbringing, and I followed some fundamentalist Christian practices for a while, and it was just heartbreaking when these people of high moral standard, who are telling you what's right and wrong, commit these violations, right? Can you share anything in my audience about what's great about this church? Such as? By the way, we got a response. So everything is great about the church. Things like them not allowing women to report rape. Things like them protecting Danny Masterson against the 3 accusers for 20 years. That doesn't sound great to me, but you know, maybe women have a different opinion of that. Maybe that's an acceptable thing. And just so you know, I do not think it's an acceptable thing. And my expectation is that 0 women think it's acceptable. Care to share anything positive about the church? Is there anything positive about the church? All right, I feel good about myself. We have 2 responses. Linda, I know which one you were talking about, and what I'm going to do is I'll scan the video when I get home tonight, and I'll put a picture of that motion that she made as a comment, and then we can try and figure out if that's a plea for help or not. Okay, so the woman that just brought her 2 children in, she just left. So this is the woman that just brought her children into the org, and now she's leaving. She might be getting something out of her car because she went to the passenger side. Hi. Oh, you're not supposed to smile. I'm telling. Care to share anything positive about the church? Is there anything positive about this cult? No, the cult's not good. The woman's going back in now. So yeah, I didn't know if she was going out. Oh, here's my pastor outer. So the person in the longer overcoat in front, he will hand out flyers quite a bit. So let me see where he's headed. This one I like to frustrate because I know it frustrates him. So the woman, right, she brought her 2 children into the church and then she walked out. I think that she was looking for something in the backseat of her car, but she did go back in. So she did not leave the children there. The girl that I said, "Can you smile?" and she did smile. She's the one that when she rushes to take down the blinds, I'll wave at her and smile, and I can tell that she's like, oh, I'm supposed to wave because I know that's a socially acceptable element, but damn it, I'm not allowed to wave. Yeah, that's I think that's a true statement, Corn. I think that those children are very much in danger. What throws me a bit about that, and I'm going to make a hasty generalization, that person did not look to be well-to-do, so how is she affording that as a public? Care to share anything positive about the church? Is there anything positive about the church? Are you okay that they protect rapists? Are you okay that they shielded Danny Masterson from his 3 accusers for 20 years before the police finally penetrated the organization? That's the church that you stand for. He has been able to pass out 0 flyers since I've seen him. And what I mean by that is that if I'm in his proximity, nobody will take the flyer from him. And those that do, they'll find the first garbage can and dump it. Yeah, 100%, right? They sacrifice their own well-being for this. Have a good evening. Care to share anything positive about the church? Is there anything positive about the church? Yeah, Michael, to me, it looked like the back of a fist. She raised her left hand, and it looked like the back of a fist. And like I said, as she opened it, it shook a little bit, and I would say reminiscent of a person with maybe Parkinson's or a similar, shaking disorder. And then she grabbed the door handle to open it. I worry about that statement. I've got an interview coming up with somebody who had a very troubled life. He grew up, he had a run-in with the mob when he was younger, went into the military, never graduated high school, got his GED, went into the military, came out of the military, was homeless, and when he was homeless, Scientology approached him and he joined the Church of Scientology. And I've got an interview coming up with him in a couple of weeks. He's got something going on that he's rather busy right now. And I really just want to say, what interested you? How did they pique your interest, and what made you join? And then additionally, what made you leave? Because we hear an awful lot about the second gen people, but this is a person who, at an age of consent, joined the church. Care to share anything positive about the church? Somebody's doing 420. Care to share anything positive about the church? I want to see the. Somebody take a picture of that, because that's the wall of donors. I want to get a lot of names off the wall of donors. I'm going to have to come back here one day with. I've got a good digital camera. I'm going to have to come back one day. Thank you, Lorraine. I'm going to have to come back here one day and get a picture of that, because I do want to remind the people in the community where the support comes from in order to build these churches. Hi. Look at him peeking through the window. How you doing? Waiting for his car probably to come pick him up. Yeah. If you think about it, I can't remember who was talking about it recently, but if you take one of those personality tests, there is no way not to help somebody understand where they've got a shortcoming. Right? Nobody feels perfect about themselves, and it's so easy to play on that when somebody's in there. Care to share any positive experiences about the church? There are no positive experiences with the church? Are you okay that they won't let women report sexual abuse? Are you okay that they traffic children? I can't tell if you're sad or okay about the fact that they traffic children. Those who won't stand against the trafficking of children are supporting the trafficking of children. Yes, please do. This is somebody who should be enjoying their retirement right now. It's very disappointing. Yeah. So this guy, is he custodial, this gray shirt? Because that definitely looks like a uniform. And there are two people that I see pretty consistently wearing that uniform. Now, I think that he's just going in to get dinner. Yeah, that he's walking back to the pickup counter. Care to share anything positive about the church? Agreed. I'm gonna create a banner for that. I don't have a banner right now. As I mentioned earlier, I have no ill will towards other organizations of that nature. I just struggle to any longer support it, just because there's they don't practice what they preach, and the transparency is terrible. Yeah. 100%. Today I came across a cool channel. Damn it, his name might be Odd Ben, Weird Ben, something like that. But about 4 years ago, he did a series of maybe 10 videos on Scientology. And one of them is he went into one of the seminars. And at the seminar, the way that they he went into a worship session. And in the worship session, a pastoral figure stood up front, and the worship was have a head. That's right, have a head. Have a head. Have a head. And do you all have a head? Yes, I have a head. Okay. And then now make your hand go like this. And he raised his hand to the left. Make your hand to go to the left. Make your hand go to the left. Make your hand go to the left. And that was their service, or their sermon. The Ben one, because it looks like those videos are 4 years old. Yeah, have feet. Which on that one, because they only allow able-bodied people, but could you imagine how embarrassing that is with a person that's only got one leg? Like, oh, crap. I failed the sermon today. Oh, skateboards are us. How do you guys like our new cult? Do you know what they are? Yeah. Very scary place. Very expensive. They commit numerous crimes. Danny Masterson, right? They protected him for 20 years. They wouldn't let those women come forward and tell the police that they had been assaulted. Yeah. For, yeah, it basically is. It's a form of brainwash. It's taking away your self-identity and making sure that you feel like you're part of the collective. There are so many terrible things. Child trafficking. They make children 12, 14 years old listen to adults tell very perverse stories about what they want to do, and these children can't leave the room. They're called auditors in that process. So they've got to take confession from these rapists, and they can't do anything about it. It's not a church in any way, shape, or form. It's very expensive. They'll let you take their first personality test for free. Then they'll tell you what's wrong with you. And the way to fix it is just buy this book, just buy that book, take this course. It's really ugly stuff. So, are you guys in? Oh, okay. Are you in the neighborhood? Are you in the neighborhood or visiting?
Visiting.
Okay. And again, I'm not gonna. If you want to go in and see what it's like, go see what it's like. I'm gonna tell you that it's like when you go on a first date. You're just gonna see the pretty nice parts about the whole thing. You're never gonna understand that. Oh wait, my boyfriend's a serial killer, right? It really is ridiculous. So then, in some of the ex-Scientologists that have left, they were born into it. They were assaulted by their parents in a very sexual manner. The church found out about this because they make you audit all the time. They make you tell, what did you do today? And when you tell them something bad, they moved the father to England and they moved the daughter to Australia to keep them out of jurisdiction so that they couldn't be. And they're calling themselves a church. That woman just walked in. She has 2 children. One of them is about 8 years old. The other one's about 12 years old. Can you share anything good about the church? And they won't talk about it. So what the 2 children are most likely doing is what's called a purification rundown. They have to go in there and they're going to take 500 milligrams of niacin. If you go to any doctor, they're going to say 50 milligrams a day is about what you should have. So 100 times more than they're supposed to have. And they're going to be in a sauna while they're doing this. In every other place in the world, that's child abuse. But here, it's a practice. And since it's a religious practice, it's allowable. Now, do you have anything good to say about the church? No? Is it just there's nothing good about this church?
This experience told me exactly what you're pushing.
If you get a chance to, so go to Windy City Thetan Watch, and on YouTube. I'll show you a picture of the channel.
They recently built this, right?
They used to be in Lakeview.
On Lakeview?
Yeah, and now they what happens? They just rebuilt this org. So if you can take a picture of that. And then there's hundreds of channels like this. They're out in LA. LA is one of the 2 headquarters, and Clearwater, Florida is the other headquarter. Chicago used to be a very minor player in Scientology. Now, there's, in the last 30 minutes, we've probably seen 45, 50 people walk in that building. So, and you're right, it is a form of brainwashing. So they make you tell this auditing, you confess bad things about yourself. Now, if you ever want to leave, they've recorded all of that. And then they'll blackmail you or publicly shame you about exiting. Like, they make their people, like, if you're gay or non-binary, they will tell you that it's a terrible thing. We're out here, we all accept that now, right? It's not a thing to be gay. It's really just terrible. And they're tax exempt, so the city gets no money from this. But they call the police every minute. Like, if I walk over that white chalk line, the police will be out here in 5 minutes, and they're going to call me for trespassing. The police will laugh at them, but they'll still make the call. So they're going to consume our resources. All of our taxes are going to be consumed, but they're not willing to pay taxes. So there's you can find information everywhere on it. It's really, really scary. And again, I would say that if you want to find out for yourself, find out for yourself. But it's a very slippery slope in that process.
Have you ever gone inside of
They won't let me. So from the moment I was protesting from the very moment, there's the gentleman that walked in with the soda and the hot dog. He'll pass out flyers in the neighborhood. Whenever he's passing out flyers, I asked him for one. He wouldn't give me one. And if you look here, there's a sandwich board there. You can't see it right now, but it says all are welcome. But again, if I walk in there, they're going to call the police in a heartbeat. They know that I'm against. No, there's at least 8 Chicago protesters that I know of. Earlier, about an hour ago, there were 3 others that were here. So, and it's just I don't like that this is a college dorm. They already have students here who are members. They came here early and recruited, so they've got members in there. So they go upstairs and they bother the people. They hand out the flyers. Yep. So, and if you think about it, I don't know if you're from this area. There's 5 other college residences within 2 blocks of this. Right? You've got Roosevelt, DePaul, UIC is down there. They do. When I got off the train today, the gentleman right here, he was in the train station passing out flyers. And he saw me and he immediately turned around because he knew that he wasn't going to be able to do it anymore. So, sorry, I haven't been paying attention to you guys. I'm just chatting with the young ladies here. So, but it's a scary thing.
Yeah, we were wondering why there was no one outside.
So, right. So this is a church with a beautiful retail space. If you come over here, they've got. Oh, by the way, it's nighttime now, so we can see through the shades because there's more light inside than out. But all of these are the writings of L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard was a science fiction writer. And people said, hey, you're going to get rich writing it. He goes, you can't get rich being an author. In order to get rich, you have to create a religion. So all of these are the books. If you look here, each of these little cubbies is a video of some story about Scientology, whether it's the legacy of L. Ron Hubbard or what the purification rundown is. And they'll just take you through there. They're not allowed to tell you what this is. They can only show you what it is. But so you've got, it's what, 7 stories. You can see that there's 6 or 8 bays right here and 6 or 8 bays right here. This whole wall is, again, you can see the DVDs of L. Ron Hubbard. So if you want to buy those, you can buy those. You can buy anything you want to here. You're not going to get too much here, but you can buy anything you want to here. So, and I don't know if you can see through here, but right, L. Ron Hubbard Dianetics. And that's, so it started as Dianetics, which was a mental health philosophy that he had. And then when all of the psychiatrists and psychiatrists of the world said, you're batshit crazy, he then turned against, you're not allowed to go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist if you're in this organization. You're not allowed to take drugs if you're in this organization. So other than that, it's just a normal church, just like every other Catholic or Protestant church that you would possibly go to, or Jewish temple. So.
Is it all the way up there?
Yeah, so all of these are them.
This entire building?
Yeah, so they bought this building in 2007, and they tried to renovate it in 2015. The whole neighborhood objected, so they kind of quashed down on that. And then recently, the church has been struggling, so they've called it now the second golden era 2 or something like that. And they're retraining all of their people and restaffing and rebuilding all of these. So, church sits on about $4 billion in their war chest.
How many churches are there?
There's about 150 in the U.S., but they're also international. So, and in some countries, it's illegal. So you can't, in Germany, you can't. In China, you can't. But Taiwan's a big place for it. Australia's a big place. The headquarters is actually in England. Yeah, I did not hear exactly what she said.
Oh, she thought we were part of the...
Oh,
yeah.
it's a cult, yeah.
Oh, we're so tired.
There are many publics. And by the way, it's an interesting thing. if you ever go out to LA, LA is where they've basically shut down the testing. So this is a testing ward at this level. He's on the custodial staff. He won't talk to me either. I can ask him 100 times, tell me what the greatest thing about this church is. Nothing. You won't get a response from them. This is their testing center, and this is how they draw in new people. So my only objective is to stand here and warn people about what they might be walking into. And again, I'm a big fan of, hey, make up your own mind, but hopefully I've helped you understand some of what's going on in there.
No, we're not going.
And you should be, like I tell people, be curious about stuff, right? Be level-headed and see if there's a second side to it, right? And that's the one thing that I'm always surprised by is that in this day and age, I could go home on the internet and research any sign that I saw today and figure out, oh, wait, this is suspicious, or and it's still, there's enough people that don't do that and find this. And at the early elements, like when you take this personality test, oh, I noticed you seem to have some anger issues. Does that sound right? Well, yeah, sometimes I do. It's like, you know what, we can help you. Dianetics will help you. If you read this book, you'll be able to learn that. And I'm like, well, that sounds good. I should do that. But it's really just common sense. You can find that same information anywhere on the internet. And that's really kind of what draws you into it. It's like, oh, what I talked to earlier about the, your first date is always such a nice experience because you don't see any of the warts, right? They got a little cafeteria over here. These in many other towns, these will be birthing. So what in this building over here, they've got some of their staff live here, 9 to a unit, and it's a studio unit. So they've got 9 people living in a studio over here. Because they don't make money. You don't get paid to work here. They're all volunteers. Excellent. Definitely, if you get a chance to, go ahead and look at the videos and subscribe if you can. You'll learn more information. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You guys have a great night. All right, folks. I feel good about tonight. I feel like we learned nothing from any Scientologists about what the positive elements are. We were able to have some good conversations, and we had some interesting conversations with some drunk philosophers. It was nice seeing Shannon and Ysireol and clearing Clearwater. But I think I'm going to get ready to go home, grab some dinner. I'll make a speed run of this, and typically I do some clips. If I find anything interesting in here, I will do some clips, and we'll make some shorts. I definitely appreciate everybody's time. Like, subscribe to all of those fun things. Again, I am trying to become monetized, but I'm not trying to become monetized. This is I have a job. I do very, very well. I don't need money, but it would be nice if I could offset some of the costs of printing up the signs and that sort of thing. So my goal is to reinvest here as much as possible in that space. And I like what Nora said. Nora just personally said she was going to do 5% of all the profits of anything that was happening on her channel was going to happen or was going to be donated to the SPTV Foundation. Before I go, Lorraine, do you have the SPTV Foundation? Yeah, he was out here last night, and he and Trashy, they might have done a shared stream on both channels, but he and Trashy did a stream last night on collecting questions to ask. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, I'm going to head to the train station, and I'm going to shut down for the night. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you watching. Share it, subscribe, tell folks. It's really want to broaden the amount of awareness. So, take care, everybody.